Before the Civil War began, women who lived in America did not possess many rights and did not play an important role in society. Their role in life was to marry a man, have and raise his children, and take care of their household. Even in the North, where more freedoms were accepted, women were just housewives. This all changes when the Great American Civil War begins and women are needed in society. As countless number of men went off to fight in the Union Army, wives were left at the homestead to take care of the children, house, and now have a career. Catherine warmly said, "It is not too much to say that delicacy and refinement and the fact of being a gentlewoman could never tell more than they do here. For those at home, outfitting at a hospital transport was refined women's play. Experienced and educated household managers, they could do it with as much ease as if they were arranging a dollhouse." In 1861, a group of women started the U.S. Sanitary Commission in New York City to improve the sanitary conditions in hospitals and cities. As this new organization started to grow, women were trained to become nurses for the war through the commission. About 10,000 women, including African Americans, became nurses in hospital administration during the Civil War. It was the first time in American history that women were allowed to work in real hospitals with other men by their side. The portrayal of a woman taking care of a home and children was now replaced with a woman taking care of soldiers injured from the war. Dorothy Lyde Dix was born in Maine and became a school teacher in her early years. During the course of her life, she studied medicine and became a nurse. When the Civil War broke out, she was named superintendent of over 6,000 nurses. This position demonstrated to the American people that women can have a career and, more importantly, be of value in society. Another prominent role model for women during this time was Clara Barton. Born in Massachusetts, Clara started to nurse her brother at the young age of 11. She had a number of different jobs in her lifetime, including a school teacher. When the Civil War began, she immediately went to volunteer for the war effort. After the war was over, she traveled to Europe and learned about the Red Cross. She brought this back to America and developed it in her own way to make the American Red Cross that is still well known today. The Union women nurses were not only stationed in hospitals tending to injured soldiers, but they were also helping men on the battlefield. Being a nurse required valiance, and these ladies showed this by crossing into enemy territory to help the wounded laying in the blood of other soldiers. During the Civil War, not only was there a high demand for women nurses, but some women even stepped up to fight for what they believed in. They joined units with male officers and female volunteers to protect themselves and their property. Over 400 women joined the Union Army disguised as men. Sarah Edmonds Seal served 2 years in the 2nd Michigan Infantry under the name Franklin Thompson. She was also a mail carrier, hospital worker, and a spy during her time. Sarah was so convincing that one time she even had to disguise herself as a woman. The Albany Evening Journal later wrote, "Several hundred women fought in the late war, but when their sex was discovered, they were dismissed in disgrace, and to the shame of the government be it said, they were never paid for their services." Another woman who was a spy during the Civil War was Harriet Tubman of the Underground Railroad. She used her vast knowledge of Southern geography to spy on the Confederates for the Union Army. She also donated her time on the battlefield, fighting along Union soldiers and in hospitals tending to the injured. Abraham Lincoln is a slow coach, and I have often been out of patience with him. But, after all, it seems to me he was the very best man that the moral condition of the American people admitted of being elected. He has, moreover, continually done better than he promised. When I said this to Mr. Emerson, he replied, "Yes, the election of Lincoln was a verification of the old fable of putting the hand into a bag full of snakes and drawing out the one eel it contained." Lydia M. Child, A Letter to the Liberator. Lydia M. Child was born in Massachusetts. She grew up to be a women's reformer and a writer. Her way of showing support to the Union Army during the Civil War happened to be through the creative aspect of writing. One of her most famous books, An Appeal in Favor of That Class of Americans Called Africans, or An Appeal, truly showed Child's view of slavery and how she was not afraid to speak her mind about Africans living in American society as normal people. The Civil War impacted the United States of America in many ways. Some say that this single war changed people, customs, and traditions forever. The role of women in our society today is forever changed due to the Civil War.